Well, hello. How are we doing? Happy Sunday Fun Day. Hope you're well and your week's going well. I just want to start today's episode by sending a special message to His Majesty King Charles III. I was devastated to hear your news, especially so soon after you become king. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I was most aggrieved for you. But having said that, I was very, very happy to see that you were up and about today and that you went to church. So fantastic. Keep that up. And I will join the rest of the country by wishing you well, hoping that you and praying that you have a very speedy recovery and, of course, a very long reign. So there we go. But anyway, so I've got a quick update for you. I've been beaving away on the scripts yet again. And the first episode, how many times have I said the first episode's done? I know, I get you. But it just needs a sprinkle of parsley, just a little, I don't know why I'm always with the food analogies, but it's almost ready for professional eyes. I've just got one tiny bit to fix. I know what it is. And then he says it's ready for professional eyes. So I'm very excited about that. So yes. Anyway, let's move on. So this week's episode is my top 3 tips for reading more books. Now, obviously, those who are insatiable readers out there, this won't apply to you, but feel free to take any away if you can, or feel free to send me some. Always looking to read more. So the top, tip number 3 is give up if you're bored. Now, I know that I've said this before, but essentially, don't let I say a bad book, let's just say a book that doesn't interest you, stop you from reading. There is no unwritten rule or law. No one is watching you. You do not have to feel guilty about not reading a book. Give it enough chance. At least 50 pages I'd recommend, especially if it's 200 pages plus, at least 50 pages. So give it a good chance, but if it's not gripping you, it's not what you're interested in, then put it down, find another book, okay? Because if you don't read a lot, that will just stop you in your tracks, okay? So that's tip number 3. Tip number 2 is always have a book with you. Now, appreciate audiobooks is the top tip here. They do count, and they're booming, by the way, for all you authors out there. So, yeah, you're in a car, you can listen to an audiobook. But also, you can have the apps, you can have Kindle, Apple Books, etc. On your mobile. Or you can just take a paperback with you in your bag. I've got a little shoulder bag that I use to carry paperbacks because, as you can see by my library, I'm a little old school. But you'd be amazed at the amount of opportunities you've got to read. How do you get to work if you don't drive? Are you on the tube? Are you on the bus? There you go. There's 20 minutes reading in the morning, or 30, etc. There's a lot of times to read. In the doctors, waiting in the doctor's room, waiting at the dentist's, waiting at the bus stop. You'd be amazed. Do a little experiment and just note how many times you think, hang on, I could have read a few pages there. So there we go. That's another one. I even read in the pub. Okay, and so tip number 1 is going to be read more than one book at a time. Now, I know there may be people throwing books at your screen right now because they're in total disagreement. There are people that just plough through books. They'll read one book, finish it, and my hat's off to them. But what I'm trying to say by this is, okay, if you're reading an intense thriller or a romance or something, and you're flying through it and you love it, and you get to the end of that book, that's great, fine. And yes, preferably read a book in one set and move on to the next. But there may be sometimes books that you want to read that you don't read in that volume, or it's harder to keep pace. Might be kind of textbooks or historical books, psychology books, especially for me. But I sometimes do plough through them all at once, but I often have at least 5 books on the go. So I'll be reading my thriller. I'm out in the park, I might be reading my thriller. A bit of quiet time in the morning at home, I'll read my psychology book. I'll read 10, 20 pages so I can really reflect on it and think about it. So there's different horses for different courses. So, and if you maintain this, then you do get to the end line, and all of a sudden you've finished five books. And my personal top tip, which I know is going to sound very crass, so I apologise, is have a book in the toilet. I went through an 800-page tome, a really thick book, just by reading it in the toilet. If you've got a little shelf or something, you can just put it in there, and so when you're sitting on the loo, just read. Can read 5 or 10 pages at a time. So you'd be amazed at how it all adds up. And so, but also you can. So I'm waffling now, but very quickly, you can read more than one book in a sitting. So what I'll sometimes do when I'm laying in bed at night, I'd read 5 or like 10 pages of like a history book or something like that. So just to get a little bit of thinking, and then to relax, I will perhaps read 20 pages of fiction book, or a novel, a thriller, or a romance, or whatever. So you can mix and match as well. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. They're my top tips for reading. Please feel free to share yours with me, or to let me know if it improves your reading at all, and how many you read this year. So just leaves me to say, have a wonderful week, and we'll speak soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.